Hey, what's going on, guys? How are we doing today? Hopefully you guys are doing pretty well out there. Today's video, I want to talk a bit more about these Bad Batch and just kind of like the future of them and what they're kind of going to be looking like down the line in terms of now the addition with Omega, and what are they meaning? Are we going to have to require them for a future GL? Like, do we have to farm them up or not? And let's just talk about that for a second. So, let's go. Well, first off, I think this is hilarious, by the way. Omega lol. It's pretty golden. If you go on and use hotbots a lot, this is like the actual image for Omega. At the moment, she's like a big old meme, guys. I'm not sure what else to say. That's just kind of how she is. I'm sure I just posted a video recently about Omega and like what she's looking like right now, currently in the game. Not doing the whole lot here, right? But let's go and swap topics. We'll still talk about Omega, but what are the chances that these guys are required for a future GL? And I'd like to think that there's a pretty high chance that they are going to be needed, right? Because currently at the moment, we just got this Master Kenobi, right? He was announced or like about his requirements 2 to 3 months ago, I want to say. So we've had the Bad Batch in the game for quite a while. I think every single one of these guys, besides the new Omega, they are farmable on some node. Echo's on a node, Hunter, Wrecker, I think was just added, and Tech's been on a node for a little while now. So there's 4 plus this 5th Omega. And I think if you're looking at requirements for GLs and the amount needed for getting a future GL or whatever it is, like their amount needed, I think it's like 15 prerequisites or so. 15 right here, as you can see. So some of them are just characters, some of them are like some ships. So like, what are we looking like here? Are these guys going to be needed for some future GL? There's been a lot of hints, and it's almost at this point, almost a guarantee, I'd say, for a newer version of an Anakin, like a Lord Vader or some sort there, right? So I think there's a very good chance we're going to be getting that character sometime in the next, less than a year before the year is ended and is up. So I think there's a very good chance that these guys are going to be needed. There's a lot of talks about these in these dev podcasts. The Galactic War Report, there's a lot of talk there with Lord Vader. And currently right now with the game, there was a little update. I want to go over to it. Let's go pull it up. It was about this last content update and just talks about this a little bit. So let's go pull this up as well. So yeah, there's Omega. And where is it again? I think it's just right here. They swapped this out. I talked about this in like a couple of videos ago. ARC Trooper is now no longer a required unit in the Reek mission, allowing people to more flexibly use the Bad Batch or other clones in their pursuit. It says in their pursuit for Ki-Adi-Mundi shards, right? So with that, and then also the Bad Batch are now going to be heroes in the GOTB. All of this right now with the addition of Omega is kind of hinting towards these guys going to be needed for that GL Anakin or that Lord Vader or really whoever it is. I don't think it has to be Lord Vader, but there's a very good chance it is, because if it's going to be played into part with a Master Kenobi, that's really the only other character I can think of at that time in Star Wars, right? So there's just like a lot of stuff here going on that makes me believe that this will be part to do with requirements of next GL, right? So that's only 5 of them, right? Just 5. So what could the other ones be? And this video isn't going to, I don't really want this and mean for this video to be just about the future requirements for these guys. This is more about just kind of letting you guys be aware that there is almost a 100% guaranteed chance we're going to be getting a GL here, announced probably in the next month or two, and we're going to have to farm these guys up. And farm up the Bad Batch. That's going to be a lot of extra farming. And then farming up some more guys and getting some more relics. Because based off the last Master Kenobi, we had to get a Relic 8 Grandmaster Yoda and a Relic 8 General Kenobi. That's like 2 Relic 8s. That's pretty hefty for a GL, guys. And for requirements. A lot of other relics too. So I think right now is a great time to hoard. I would still be saving up energy and saving up as much as I possibly can for gear and all that sort of stuff. And just farm up these new characters, because even though right now this Omega being as an additional 5th for the Bad Batch, she's not really bringing much to the table. It is a lot of only positive and good things to do while you are farming them up to kind of help you out in the long run of things, right? Because as I was going back and thinking about me farming up Queel and IG-11 for the Beskar Mando, I know I didn't really get the most use out of them, but I was able to to get at least an extra crewmate for a new ship, and then also getting some more of those mods at the time. Right now, I didn't really put all in for gear, as we can see, only like level 70 and level 65 here. I did not put that much effort into them, but I was able to still get them done, and you know, I'm not really annoyed by that. I'm kind of glad I still did, because I knew at some point in time I was going to need to farm them up and get them up anyways, right? And I'm like at a point right now where I was on the fence about, should I still farm these Bad Batch or should I not? But like, it's kind of come to a point where I feel like I still have to. Whenever there's a new team or character in the game, ever since, you know, GLs have been introduced, there's a very high chance that those guys in some way, shape, or form are going to be needed for a future GL, right? And if they're not, maybe there's like some journey guide with these guys and needing some other journey guide type of character, like a hero's journey or whatever it's called, just like one of those journey guides, kind of like the Beskar Mando, and just like so on and so forth, with some clones possibly, right? So that's kind of like my next point here is clones. Are clones going to be getting any more like help here? Because right now, the 501st are kind of on their own plane of existence. You know, you can have a Shock T as a 5th, as a leadership rather, or like a gas. Right now, I feel like between the Bad Batch being now having whole 5 and then the clones with the 501st, I think the Bad Batch have a bit of a higher ground in that kind of a sense, because you don't have to worry about that 5th. You already have all those 5 built up right there. But then again, I feel like the 501st, if you add in that gas or that Shock T, they can accomplish a lot more for you. But then again, you can see these last two here. We have Clone Sergeant and then we have Cody. Those two are ones that have been pretty trashed for a very long time, and was kind of hoping that these guys got some love in some way, shape, or form, but they have still yet to get that. But again, these guys are requirements for that Master Kenobi, and I don't really see them being that much of a requirement for any future GLs, because they've already been as a requirement for a GL at the moment. But I think, again, to kind of wrap up this whole point, is that these guys, the best, or not the Beskar, but the Bad Batch are going to be required for sure in this next GL requirement, because there is not much left, at least in what I can think of, that would be required of a Lord Vader. I don't really see them, you know, requiring the Tuskens to be relics. Maybe they are, maybe they aren't. I don't know. I really don't see that happening. But I do definitely see them requiring some of these clones. Definitely some clones, and when I think about clones, I'm thinking the Bad Batch, and definitely some other Anakins. But this is like the part of requirements from here on out that I feel like is just so hard to really read, because these are now 5 GLs. If you think about another one, that's going to be 6. And if you're at a point where you already have all the GLs, it's very hard to think about which requirements they're going to be pushing for those GLs. Because everybody has, if you have that many GLs, there's a lot you're already going to be having in the game with relics. Between, you know, really great characters, really bad ones, but you still had to require them with relics anyways. So, like, there's a lot you can probably think about and talk about with this. But at the very end of the day, you kind of got to go with your safest bet with these ones that you know for sure are already out in the game. They are tied into it somehow, and they're not the worst ones. I think the Bad Batch, they're not the best, they're not the worst, they're kind of meh. But yeah, for Kenobi, just talking about him for a second. Mace Windu kind of sucks. Ayla's not the worst. Bo-Katan's pretty trash. But guess what? Bo-Katan was at the time, you know, back in the day, I say back in the day, it was maybe like 3-4 months ago, maybe even longer, where she was a marquee, and now she was required, and that was just one of them. So if they were to require a Bo-Katan that doesn't really play a huge part into a Kenobi, but was a marquee and was kind of forced into being a requirement for a GL Kenobi, there is a lot they can do with future GL requirements. And I think the Bad Batch are like a big emphasis for that, because that's going to be now 5 if they require Omega for that. And that is a scary thing, a scary thought, because that's 4 characters you would have to farm up right now to get that Lord Vader, whoever that is, the next GL. And then again, and this is the same talk we have every single time a GL is coming out, the crappy ones like a Qui-Gon, a Magna Guard, all these other ones, Wat Tambor not so much, Grievous not so much. And then Cad Bane. I'm not really sure how Cad Bane plays in part with Master Kenobi. It just seems like those guys were around at the time of Kenobi during the prequels, right? So just like a lot of things you got to think about. And is it worth it to go all in right now? And I don't really think it is. The only really play here is to hoard and save up all your guys' energy, your crystals, but definitely want to be focusing down on those requirements and those future ones like the Bad Batch. Probably going to be a definite future requirement, and you got to farm them up at least sometime soon. I feel like I'm just ranting a lot at this point, guys. I guess the whole idea of this video was to talk about the Bad Batch and Lord Vader, and it's kind of just connecting the dots at this point. There is like almost 100% chance we're gonna get a GL here being announced in the next like 1 to 2 months, and the Bad Batch are going to probably be played into part with that next GL requirement. It's pretty much already laid out there for us, if I'm gonna be honest with you guys. So yeah. That is probably it about for today's video, guys. Bad Batch, they kind of suck. I wouldn't say they suck, but like they're just kind of mediocre right now. Kind of like the Beskar Mando team, but you kind of have to get them up anyways, right? You kind of have to get them up anyways. So that's it. Do you guys still agree? I feel like this is a topic that's been, you know, from other YouTubers being brought up in a lot of different times for their videos. And yeah, just Bad Batch requirements for another GL. At this point, there's been a lot of talk from other podcasts and the devs talking about a GL net coming down the line. Lord Vader's probably going to happen. More ships to come as well. Just like a lot more prequel content, I feel like is going to be happening here soon. And I wouldn't be shocked if we get more prequel marquees and maybe some touch-ups. We'll have to see there. But yeah, definitely going to be a safe bet to farm up the Bad Batch. Omega is not the best one right now, but I feel like she's definitely going to be a requirement in some way. That's about it, guys. I always like to hear guys' thoughts about this down below. Requirements for a potential GL, the Bad Batch, what they mean to SWGoH. That's pretty much it, guys. Thanks for watching, and until next time, I will see you later. Peace out and have a good one. See you guys.